Hello and welcome to the Leckiju Lounge. This is your host Lex, and as Lanima from Imitation once said, okay. Welcome back, everybody. So we have a very exciting topic today, but first, just to recap a little bit of what is happening in my real-time life is I'm almost going back into the semester. It's almost August, which is scary. I think when this airs, it'll be the last day of July, which is insane. So August, I have to start basically a school semester, but for dance, and this is my last couple of days off, consistently, and I'm trying to see some friends. I'm trying to hook up with people this week and get in touch with people. Whoa, not like that, but I want to get in touch with people just before it gets crazy. So today I'm actually going to lunch after this with someone. Yes, you heard it, I'm recording before lunchtime, which is really early to me. Anything before lunch is early to me. But yeah, what else is going on? I told the pod last week that I was going to be using a new mic this week. So as you can tell, this is my same mic. The mics came and I tried them out, and I'm thinking I'm gonna return them, but I might give it a second try. I'm not sure, because I'm not super techie, and it's a double mic set, and it comes with a little soundboard, a very small one, and it's supposed to be beginner friendly, but I don't know if I had it connected in the right things. The thing is I tried recording multiple times. I tried different things. I tried doing one mic, the other mic. I tried switching chords, and it just wasn't working it wasn't sounding good. Anything that would go into the phone would be super quiet. So I don't know, I might pull it. I packed everything up. I'm it's getting returned. And I already started the return process, but I might give it another try. I'm not sure, and then we'll see. But for now, we're just using this mic. I'm really trying to get two mics, but then the whole soundboard thing, this brand of mic actually doesn't sell a soundboard that's able to connect more than one mic. And I'm what's the point then? I guess voice changing and stuff, but it's to me, at least, the main point of a soundboard would be so that you can have multiple audios going in, but it only has one. So I don't know. Anyways, that's tech talk. That's not very fun, I know. It's just kind of annoying because I'm also recording out of my phone. I don't have a professional camera, and that might also be part of the problem. I'm not sure, but we don't have the budget. So for now, it's just me. If you guys would like and subscribe, as you should be, and blow this podcast up, then I could probably afford some better stuff. Anyways, the topic today, it is sexual awakening at its finest. I wanted to talk about this because I've thought about it quite a bit, but recently I was thinking about things in my early life that could have been seen as oh, that was a sign and you ignored it, or because I had a friend, and we kind of would reflect back on this. One of my best friends, she was a lesbian, and she we used to reflect back on things when we were kids, and we were you know what, that was kind of gay. It just was, but that wasn't even in our realm of thought, therefore we wouldn't have thought it was, So, or not that gay wasn't in a realm of thought. We knew what it was growing up, but it wasn't even an option for us, is what we thought. You know what I mean? So it's oh, we know of gay people. We know they exist. That's whatever that species is. But it's not even thinkable to be us, that we are one of them. So it was funny. And so, yeah, I just wanted to get into some of those, reflect on what they were. And then also for the Leckiju Q's today, you have to stay tuned because it's going to be so much fun. I have quite a lot. I got a lot of answers of people's sexual awakenings, and I find it so funny. Anyways, just stay tuned. You'll see. So I do want to talk about like the real awakening first because I've talked about it a little bit on here, but I'm going to talk about the real, like real stuff. And then we're going to go back further and see like, okay, there was actually some more signs. So my real awakening, I think, was when I was at boarding school and there was a guy, and it was like, I had a crush on a lot of different people that year. I had crushes on like, I think the main crushes, there were 2 girls and 1 boy. And actually one of the boy and the girl were dating. And it's just like, it was really weird to me because I was obviously like at boarding school and it being an art school, I was like flooded with a lot of ideas that I had never thought were possible. And met a lot of people that were like the whole spectrum of sexualities at that school. So it was good for me, but it was also kind of shocking. And I learned so many things. I learned terms. I learned like, I remember my friend was telling me, he was like, well, maybe you're bi-curious. I was like, what the hell is bi-curious? That was the funniest thing I had heard at that point. And then I realized though, I was like, well, maybe I am, because he was calling me that. And I was like, what even is that? And I mean, I basically was, because I did mostly like girls at that moment, but then there was one guy who was kind of the exception. But like the way that I felt about him was different than I felt about the girls. And it was like, I don't know how to explain that, but it's gay, whatever it is. And so that was kind of the start. That was like the real awakening to me, because that was like a real person that was like feelings. But after that, so that was COVID year, it got shut down, and being at home during COVID summer, I remember rewatching a bunch of TV shows, and then my brother, we were watching Austin and Ally. This was like when Disney Plus was like, this was like the first year of Disney Plus. And I remember I used to watch all Disney Channel shows, and then I had never rewatched Austin and Ally. And then my brother we were talking about Ross Lynch for some reason, and my brother was like, he was cute when like he was young. And I was like, you know what? He kind of was. But I didn't like that show growing up, and I didn't like him when I was growing up. Because it's kind of how Disney made him, to just be annoying and like be everywhere and be like the bleached blonde, like top boy at the time. You know, it was just annoying. But he is extremely talented and he is beautiful, so it's like, it makes sense. But back then I didn't see that. So then when I was a teenager, then I want to say I turned 15 that summer, and then I was watching it because my brother was like, let's watch it. We did, and I was like, wait, I'm obsessed with this. And also, he's so cute. Like, it was just what it was. And I've also included this in my notes that Ephraim has a superpower as Cupid. Like, it's a Cupid superpower is what I wrote. And what that is growing up, he could always do this where he would tell me, oh, this person's like pretty cute, or he would ship me with someone that I like wouldn't be interested in at all, and then like soon enough I would become attracted to them or have a crush on them. It was weird. It's like he could make me like people, and we always used to say that. And it would be really weird scenarios too. He would just like, I don't know where he got it from, the ideas, but that one was kind of those that it was like, it was weird because it had been like that with my crushes basically up until then. Or he at least would call it before I would even accept it almost. So even if he saw me like slightly drawn to someone, but I didn't even see it yet, he would like call it basically, and then it would, play out. And for the Ross Lynch one, it was him who started it. We didn't watch the show. I hadn't seen Ross Lynch's face in years, and he was like, oh, he was cute, like, and he was really talking him up. And then I was like, well, okay, let's watch it then, because I was like, I think you're right, but I don't really remember. And then sure enough, that was my like biggest celebrity crush up until I got into K-pop, for sure. So like for years, I don't know how many years that would have been, 15, 16, at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I think it was like 2 years. So like that was, and I'm big on celebrity crushes. He was everything to me at the time. I watched every movie, I listened to every song like that he had ever put out, and every video. So that was definitely like the real, I mean, that was like the hardcore awakening, and it lasted 2 years. But now I want to get into the early signs. We're going to go even farther back. So I have these two guys listed. One of them I won't name because he's a real life person, but the other one was Chris Hemsworth. And this was early time. Like, we're talking, I had a Kindle Fire, and that was it. And the reason I remember the Kindle Fire and why it's important in the story is because I would have like photos of Chris Hemsworth in the gallery, screenshotted. But basically my whole thing at the time was, if I liked someone, and looking back, like, there was attraction there, but in my reality there wasn't. It was just like a different thing. And I would look at people that like it was a lot of older men, but even now, like, I'm not into old men, but I'm into older than me, and I'm an adult now, so it's like it balances out. But when I was a kid, I would have liked the same age basically that I like now. And the thing is Chris Hemsworth is a man. Like, no matter how you feel, Chris Hemsworth is a good looking man. And I was just very into him at the time. Like, I had a phase, and I used to say that I wanted him to be my dad, which I know how that sounds. It's pretty bad. But there was also this guy in real life who, at my dance studio, he was a guest that would come and, like, basically just like guesting, he'd get paid and to perform with us because we needed an adult guy to play like the Rat King, play like party dads, and like whatever. We needed adults. And I found a liking for this guy, which is funny. Now that I grow up, like, I don't really see why, but he was okay. And I used to say that I wanted him to be my dad. But to me, I meant like, or I thought I meant in real, like a real dad. Not anything romantic or anything, because I didn't really know what that was or like how that would feel at the time. And so I remember my dad used to also, like, my real dad used to be offended, and he would like play sad because he was like, I mean, he genuinely probably was a little sad because he was like, you want someone else to be your dad, you know, like is hurtful. And like, I thought it was all in good fun because I was like, I want them to be my dad. And I used to like literally pretend that Chris Hemsworth was my real life dad. And so looking back at those type of stories, I'm like, hold up, Miss Thing, like that doesn't quite add up. Because when I do think of how I felt about it, like, I wanted them to be my dad because I liked the way that they looked. So it's like, what? It's so confusing, but also very clear nowadays. Okay, so another one that I have, the last one that I have that's a real person was, and I don't know if this was before or after. I'm very like lost on time. A lot of my childhood's blacked out, but this was from a dance competition I went to, and I don't think I've told this story here. I went to a dance competition. It was the first I'd ever been to, but I wasn't competing. My brother was, but I was going to be a guest artist and like open the show with a performance, which was super cool. That was my first like guesting thing, and I didn't get paid for it, but you know, exposure or whatever. I always was doing free work. So it was not the most like mainstream competition for ballet. It was not YGP. It wasn't World Ballet. It was like a smaller competition called VKIBC in New Orleans, Louisiana. And there was this guy, competitor, who, the guys there were not that great, but he, I remember watching in like the rehearsal day and seeing him rehearse, and I was telling my brother, I was like, oh, he's so cute. And like, cause he was, I mean, I've seen a photo of him now. Okay, wait, I was gonna say I would insert the photo on the video podcast, but I can't because this is a real life person, okay? I think we're friends on Facebook, TBH. But yeah, like years later we became friends on Facebook. But yeah, I do have a photo with this person. And you know why? Because I told my dad when we were like backstage, I remember being like, I want to get a picture with him. I kept telling him I wanted to get a picture with this man. And one thing about my dad is he's always down for a photo opportunity. He was like, of course. So he had me just like pose with this random guy. This guy didn't like know me at all. He hadn't seen me there. He just hears like, oh, my dad's like, can he get a picture with you? This guy's like, sure. We were literally in like the dressing room. And he's just like in his dance clothes and I'm like in mine, and I just like hold and like take the photo. I look so happy in the photo. It's honestly really cute. And this guy's just like, who the hell is this kid? But he was very cute. Why was I about to name drop? Those are the people, okay? That's the people. Now let's get into a little bit more of the funny stuff. So those things that are what I think is real. Those are like real attractions to men. But there are obviously so many stereotypes that are like, oh, your kid is like a little bit more flamboyant or whatever, he's gay. Which is not true at all, okay? Like, these things that I'm going to get into are all stereotypes, and as much as I hate those, I think it's also fun to notice them. Okay? So, just bear with me, okay? The easiest one, I'm a dancer. This means nothing, but because I know a lot of dancers who are straight. I do know more dancers that are gay, though, for guys. But I know a big handful of both. I've been to a couple companies and whatnot. And honestly, the straight dancer guy persona is really nasty to me oftentimes. There's exceptions, but like a lot of them are they're very egotistical. And the gays are too, but it's just like less, to me, at least. And what I've experienced. So like, people say like, oh, your kid dances, he's gay, whatever. That's funny because if I ever thought of that as a kid, I was like, well, me and my brother, like, we never wanted to dance. So it's not like that at all. Also, here's a good example. I have two brothers that dance, plus me, and one of them has a fiance who's a woman and has always been straight. And my middle brother, I say he's gay, but he's not. It's just like a funny bit we have. He's supposedly straight, and then there's me. So it's like there's obviously variety. You had 3 options. You had 3 sons. I mean, one of them's bound to be, am I right? So, do you know what? That's actually a crazy sidebar. Whenever I see, like, families that have 3 boys or 4, I'm always like, one of them has to be, right? But I have, like, cousins and family members and people who have that, and they're, like, all just straight. They're all, like, cookie cutter of the exact same and the exact same lifestyle. And I'm like, I guess my family is just the main character because we be having, like, the most different paths. But anyways, next thing, something like makeup. Okay? It's stupid. Doesn't mean anything. But I have always loved makeup like that. And it's kind of the same with like fashion and things that are like material wise that I don't see these as queer or anything like that, but I know that that's like, it is a stereotype that people do see. Like I would love to get makeup done for shows because, and I still do, my favorite part about performing for real is the makeup and like obviously some of the production stuff, but like the makeup part was always so fun for me when I was a kid. I didn't like dancing, I didn't like performing, but I liked being glam and being like in a costume if the costume was pretty. But I've had a lot of ugly costumes too. Same story. I have a story of when I had my nails painted when I was a kid because I was with my cousin and she had painted, I think, my grandmother's nails, and then she painted mine too, and I was like, that was like, I think the first time I was feeling so fish. And that is like, straight guys paint their nails too, but it's just like those certain stereotypical queer things and the flamboyance of it. But I I was just like always into those things. So I can't really explain it. I could have turned out straight too. I talked about with my brother that he's had some of the same situations growing up that like people would track as like, oh, he's gay. And then he's not. So it's like we've kind of, some of the things that we shared, then we come out two different ways. So it's obviously like not valid. But I do remember like this is nothing to do with gay. If anything, this is trans, this is fierce, this is drag. But I used to love like putting on my mom's clothes and putting on her heels and her bras. But like what kid doesn't do that? I mean, if you don't, then I'd like to know. But like what kid isn't putting on their mom's bra whenever she's finished with laundry? And I would do it to this day. It's funny. But my mom's like so much more uncomfortable with it now than she would have been. Like now if we do it, I think because it's more like, oh, we're adults, and it's like, it's now put into her head that, oh, that could actually be a possibility, and it freaks her out. But she had this pair of yellow heels that she didn't really care about. She was fine if they broke, and that's why they were like the pair that was okay for us to put on. And let me tell you what, I've been strutting since then. Every time I would meet like girls, teen girls or girls who were my age, and they were always telling me like they can't walk in heels, I was like, oh girl, I have you beat. But I'm like, are you not practicing in your mom's heels? Because I am. And for what? I still haven't done a drag show to this day, and I also haven't like, well, that's a lie, I have worn heels out, but like, and way taller ones. But see, I've been training since then. Another really last funny one that I wanted to talk about was toys, because this is almost in between the like material stereotypical things and the real attractions, I think, and like real stuff. Because I had toys who had same-sex relationships, and this was before I ever felt anything like that. I remember some of my stuffed animals and stuff it was like, oh, they're coupled, and then these two are just always together, but they're like friends. But now when I think about it, I'm like, oh, they were a couple, just because it's cute. But I also say that about, there's this infamous Joker toy. So I don't know if you know what Imaginext would be, but Imaginext is like it's some type of toy that it's actually good for young kids because they're like bigger pieces. Like it's almost like it looks like could be a baby toy, but they're also good to ages up. And so they have like any kind of characters. They have DC characters, and we had like a lot of DC superheroes and stuff of it. And there was a ton of Jokers, like from Batman, a ton of Joker figures. And so what we would do, we'd have like, oh, there's a real Joker, but then there's a bunch of fake Jokers who dress up like him, basically as decoys, okay? I'm just giving you the rundown of our storyline, because we did this storyline every time, because we had a bunch of Jokers. So we made them decoys, basically to fake out Batman. Perfect. But they were always very performative and fun, and like funny characters, but we always made two of them be together. And it was like part of the comedy, which again, like, kind of hate that we were just making it like, oh, it's gay and that's like the comedy one, like that's the funny one, it's not serious. Because that's what a lot of programs do and a lot of people do with movies and TV, which is a very frustrating topic. But it's funny now, because yeah, there was always like a Joker couple and they'd be like caught doing something, or like, oh, we'd have them like sleeping all in the areas of the base, and then like those two would be cuddled up sleeping, and it was funny. It was obviously funny, but now I'm like, that was fierce. That was like, those were my divas growing up. I felt seen. But anyways, there's probably more that I'm gonna forget about and think about later, but those were just some of the material things that I, experienced, and some real awakening stories. But now I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, we're going to get into my viewers submitted awakenings. It's going to be fun. Okay, stay tuned. All right. Welcome back from the break. We're going to get into the Leckiju's Q's. If you want to be a part of this, where I read viewer submitted answers to my questions, you can follow me on Instagram at Leckiju and at leckiju.kpop, where I will ask questions at random times of the week, and you can submit them and then they'll be included in videos and podcasts like this. So first, we're going to start with, my best friend made me realize because I liked a boy and a girl at the same time. So the reason I was really excited to see this answer was because that is basically what happened to me. Like I was saying at boarding school, I liked a girl first, kind of, and then I realized that I liked her and her boyfriend at the same time and was like, what? Like, what? And then like, and I will say, this is like, TMI, but when is it not? I did like, that kind of started also opened my mind up to a throuple, because I was like, at a point, I was like, I want both. I don't want to have to choose. And I was like, both would be fierce. Anyways, that goes, down a funny route. But moving on. Anyways, cool for you. Moving on. The celebrity that was my lesbian awakening was literally Jihyo from Twice. Period. And that's valid. Actually, love Jihyo, by the way. That's my Twice bias. But actually, my friend, the one I was talking about earlier, who is a lesbian, I got her into K-pop because I got into K-pop while we were friends. And then a few months later, I was like, hey, you should, get into this. And she was at first like, no. And then she watched this documentary. I think it was Blackpink documentary, and kind of like got into them first and then got into a lot of other groups. And, I think she really liked Twice. That resonated with her, and she really liked Momomu. And in Twice, she loved Momo. And it was just like a whole thing. She actually told me, she was like, I had a dream with Momo in it last night. I was like, fierce. Momo and Jihyo be collecting the girls, I think, for Twice. Moving on. My awakening happened in a powerful dream before freshman year. Here we go with the dreams. I didn't even know that was going to segue like that. But, before freshman year, okay. So for me, this is a good topic because dreams be like sometimes predicting things or predicting what you might actually want. And it's really creepy. But I remember a time when I was like, I guess I had realized that I really was gay. You know that thing that people say, like, if you start having dreams in another language, it means like you really know the language or you're very fluent in the language. You know what I mean? Because I've never had a dream that like, it might have been gibberish, but I don't think I've ever had a dream where it was like, oh, someone's speaking Spanish clearly or someone's speaking Korean clearly. And that's like supposedly a thing that's like when you really know the language. And because it's kind of similar, because I remember the first time I had a dream that was gay, I was like, oh, so I guess this is like real. And what's weird about it is it wasn't with a celebrity. It wasn't with someone I knew. It was literally a guy that was like made up completely, like fake person. I will say he was like, I feel like he was Timothée Chalamet-esque, which is odd because I've never felt like an attraction to Timothée Chalamet, but this guy was like, he was just like a white guy, and not as like skinny as me, but like relatively skinny. Anyways, I remember when I had that dream, I was like, oh, so I guess that's real, and I'm officially gay. And moving on, HTC woman. So this was my brother who submitted it. I will out him because, the HTC woman who would like walk forward at the end and she would say, "This is life, connect with it." She was just like white woman, brown hair, like beautiful hair. And that's kind of been like an ongoing thing. My brother had said that like that was really when he knew like, oh, he found women attractive, was that woman. So shout out to you, HTC woman. Where are you now? What are you up to? Because you ate. Even if that's the only thing you did in your commercial career, you ate. And it is very iconic. This is life, connect with it. That should have been my tagline to open the episode. Maybe next time. I'll wait a couple episodes. So anyways, that is like very simple. It's like, oh, I saw this person, man or woman, and I was like, oh, I like that. And that's kind of when you know. I mean, there's other things. I know like he also grew up loving Pocahontas, and that was very like that was one of his favorite things, and like the kissing scene and stuff, like, which Pocahontas is fierce. That's a good person to be attracted to. Moving on, 5 or 6 year old me with Spider-Man. Again, here's a character, except this one's very much like, I guess they might be attracted to the hero part of him, but they might be attracted to the physical, like, oh, his face isn't even necessarily seen, but body T. Oh, excuse me. Although I'm picturing the cartoon, they might be talking about a live action. Hold up. Because I don't know how old this person is. They were 5 or 6, but I'm like, could have been Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, could have been Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Hopefully they're not so young that it could have been Tom Holland. But you know, could have been one of them, or maybe they're talking cartoon. Because to me, cartoon would be probably the hottest, just because like the body is body. Actually, as the live action Spider-Mans, if I had to get it with one, Tobey Maguire is my favorite Spider-Man. But I'm going to say, based on their look, I'm going to go with Andrew Garfield out of drag. So out of Spider-Man drag. But even in the drag, Spider-Man, I mean, Andrew Garfield kind of ate, and his suit was really cool. But Tobey is my man, don't get me wrong. Okay, next one. I was around 10 or 11, and it was thanks to Naya Rivera / Santana Lopez. Rest in peace, Queen. We love you. And this is very perfect because I'm watching Glee right now, and when I saw this answer submitted, I was like, I'm watching Glee. I'm in like season 3, and this is good. This is a good awakening because she was also a lesbian at the time, but I think like she's one of those characters and people in real life that like men and women would be attracted to. She seems like men would be attracted to her a lot, and then in the show she was playing a lesbian, so it was like, oh, we're opening the doors for all the women too. And I think that was really fierce in the storyline. But actually, that summer I was talking about where I was rewatching old shows, one of the shows I watched was Glee, and it's like rewatching it, I was then more interested in the guy characters, which was weird. I was like, all of a sudden I go to boarding school, come back, watch the same show I've watched before I went, and like years ago, and now suddenly I'm into the men. Like, because before when I watched it, I wasn't even attracted to any of the characters at all. But then when I watch it, I'm like, what? Now I'm like a horny teen that's like, oh, I like all of them. Oh, I need to be wrapping up. Hold up. I just glanced at the clock. No, we got a few more. Next one. Pictures of men in underwear ads. Period. Because same. And that's one of those I didn't mention earlier on purpose because I wanted to mention it here. I remember like, well, my dad was always shopping underwear. For some reason it was like a thing, and he just like, he loves shopping underwear, and he, I don't know, always like didn't like whatever it was, so we had to get another one. Anyways, we were always over in that men's section, and I remember going down. It's funny because watching the underwear ads, I remember being like, when I'm older, I want to be on these. Like, I want to be that, which I stand by. I don't necessarily see myself as that, but I would totally do it. But like, I don't have, the abs they be having, and like it's really beautiful. But I remember loving that aisle. I remember loving those section of the stores. So, next one, I was like 12 or 13, and I just suddenly knew I was bi, like out of nothing. I included this because that's also valid, and this is like, it's weird. I mean, there might have been signs that maybe you missed or didn't think about, but maybe it's out of nothing. Maybe you're just like, and I think for bi, it's a little different because it's not like, oh, I grew up this way and now I'm switching completely and now I don't even find that other one attractive, which is crazy, I know. But for bi, it's like, oh, I'm growing up with this one, and then it's like, oh, but I'm kind of opening the door to men or women as well. But I'm still not closing the door on the other. I think it almost feels more like you're just like opening your mind more, or like you're broadening your type and your interest. If I was bi, I think I'd be overwhelmed, but probably not. Because I'd probably have like a specific type for men and women, which I think is so cool that people have. Anyways, moving on. Last one. I'm still debating on that. We'll be back with the results. Okay, we ended this one because someone said they don't have the results yet, and that's fine. I don't know how old this person is, but if you don't have the results yet, that is fine. This is all like your whole life is time to explore. Obviously, you have so many things going on in your life. You have jobs, you have like educations, you have family stuff, whatever. But your sexuality is very personal, and it's something that you can literally take your entire life to explore. I know, like, I'm saying this stuff now. I might watch this episode in a couple of years or look back and think, like, oh, he didn't even know what was going to hit him, because I might have something totally different, you know? You really never know. I can't see myself swinging back to straight ever, but you never know. I think I do know, but you never know. Okay, I think that's all we have today. So if you, again, like I was saying, if you wanted to be included in something like this, I'm glad that we got so many submissions this week, but I really like to communicate with people. I like to include the viewers and my followers on Instagram, so check those pages out. You remember, it's all linked in the link tree on the bio of this channel, so you can find my YouTube, my other YouTube account. You can find my Instagrams at Leckiju and at Leckiju.kpop, or my TikTok at Leckiju212, and follow me everywhere. I'm posting funny stuff. I think I'm wanting to post more. I'm gonna be a creator diva. I'm gonna be that girl on TikTok, on Instagram, on all of it. So if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, please comment, engage, do what you can, subscribe. It's totally free, and I will love you so much if you do. So there's that. That's the perk. That's the subscriber perk. So thank you if you made it to the end of this episode as well. I hope I could entertain you, and comment below your sexual awakening, or maybe your funny little clues from when you were a kid that maybe could have been signs of you're gay. And I'm talking to you, Miss Thing. All right. This has been the Leckiju Lounge. Bye-bye.